Title 18, United States Code, Section 2257, commonly known as 18 U.S.C. 2257, is a federal law in the United States that imposes record-keeping requirements on producers of sexually explicit materials. The law is intended to prevent the distribution of child pornography and regulate the production of adult content to ensure that performers are of legal age. Here are some key points about 18 U.S.C. 2257. 1. Record-keeping requirements. The law requires producers of sexually explicit materials to create and maintain certain records documenting the age and identity of performers involved in the production. These records include government-issued identification documents such as driver's licenses or passports, as well as a statement verifying that the performer is over the age of 18. 2. Applicability. The law applies to any individual or entity that produces, distributes, or sells sexually explicit materials, including adult websites, DVD manufacturers, and other forms of adult content producers. It also covers secondary producers, such as website operators who display or distribute sexually explicit materials produced by others. 3. Documentation and inspection. The records required under 18 U.S.C. 2257 must be maintained by the producers for a specified period, which is generally 5 years. The law also grants the government the authority to inspect and copy these records to ensure compliance. Failure to maintain or produce the required records can result in criminal penalties. 4. Age verification. The law emphasizes the need for age verification to prevent the use of minors in the production of sexually explicit materials. Producers are required to make a reasonable effort to confirm the age of performers through the examination of government-issued identification documents. They must also ensure that the performers depicted in the materials are the same individuals identified in the records. 5. Compliance and penalties. Non-compliance with the record-keeping requirements of 18 U.S.C. 2257 can result in serious criminal penalties, including fines and imprisonment. Violations may be prosecuted under federal law, and individuals found guilty can face up to 5 years in prison for a first offense and up to 10 years for subsequent offenses. It is important to note that while 18 U.S.C. 2257 primarily focuses on preventing child pornography and ensuring the legal age of performers, it has been subject to criticism and legal challenges, with concerns raised about its potential impact on privacy rights and free speech. Legal interpretations and court decisions may affect the application and enforcement of the law. 18 U.S.C. 2257 is a United States federal law that requires producers of visual depictions of actual or simulated sexually explicit conduct to maintain records of the performers' ages and identities. The law was enacted in 1988 to protect children from sexual exploitation. The law applies to any person who produces a visual depiction of actual or simulated sexually explicit conduct, including books, magazines, periodicals, films, videotapes, digital images, digitally or computer-manipulated images. The law also applies to any person who distributes or imports a visual depiction of actual or simulated sexually explicit conduct. The law requires producers to maintain the following records for every performer portrayed in a visual depiction of actual sexually explicit conduct. Performer's legal name. Performer's date of birth. performer's social security number or other government-issued identification number. A statement signed by the performer that he or she is at least 18 years of age. The records must be maintained for at least 5 years. They must be made available to the Attorney General for inspection upon request. The law also requires producers to label all visual depictions of actual or simulated sexually explicit conduct with the following statement. All performers in this visual depiction were at least 18 years of age at the time of production. Failure to comply with the requirements of 18 U.S.C. 20-57 is a federal crime. Penalties for violating the law include imprisonment for up to 5 years and a fine of up to $250,000. The law has been criticized by some for being too burdensome and for not doing enough to protect children from sexual exploitation. However, the law has also been credited with helping to reduce the number of child pornography cases.